I'd like to introduce Barbara from the United States, who takes LDN for Polymyalgia Rheumatica. Thank you for joining me, Barbara.
Thank you.
Could you tell us when you first started to experience symptoms?
Well, it started in about September of 2013, and it was right after I had completed my a session as a juror on a murder trial, and I kind of was thinking maybe the stress from the murder trial might have started this condition. I started off feeling very stiff in my shoulders, my neck, my hips, and my thighs, and it was really difficult getting out of bed. It hurt a lot to just get up in the morning and walk around. It hurt if I sat down for any long period of time and tried to stand up. The stiffness was very painful.
Mm. So, if you had to say your pain levels at that time, 10 being the worst pain and 0 being no pain, what would it have been?
I would say it was probably maybe around a 7.
Okay, so it was pretty painful then.
Yes, it was, and it really restricted a lot of the activities I was used to doing, because I was used to being, I really couldn't do that anymore. And I play piano, and whenever I'd sit down and try to play piano, if I sat on the bench for very long, it was just very painful to get up.
How would you have described a typical day from getting up to going to bed?
Well, really, once I got up, if I kept moving and I was walking around a lot, it wasn't too awfully bad. I could walk around. I get tired more easily, and I couldn't walk as far as I used to. But a typical day, I would just get up, and I would still exercise. I found that exercise kind of helped. If I continued to move, it was good. I had trouble, getting. I used to brush the dog. I'd get down on the floor with my dog and brush his fur, and I couldn't get up and down off the floor anymore. So I had a real hard time trying to groom the dog. I was, pretty kind of depressed because I was thinking, gee, I'm never going to be able to be active again, and I've always been very active.
Okay. So when did you hear about LDN? How long was that after diagnosis?
Well, I went to a rheumatologist, first of all, and she told me she wanted to put me on prednisone, which I refused to do because I've heard horror stories about that drug. And I remembered I have a good friend from high school who's on LDN. She's been on it for several years now, and she's always told me how wonderful it's been for her condition. She has Parkinson's disease. And I remembered that it was good for pain and it was good for inflammation. So I thought, well, hey, I think I would like to try that. I mean, she has told me there's no side effects, and it's been done wonders for her. So I asked my roomie about it, and she said, oh, no, I can't prescribe that. There aren't any clinical studies on that, and I just would not feel comfortable prescribing a drug that I'm not familiar with. So I went ahead and I did some research, and I joined a Facebook page on PMR, and found a woman there who was mentioning that she was taking LDN, and she got it from a doctor in San Francisco, and she did just a phone consult with him and was able to get prescribed the LDN via the phone. So I contacted him, and he, without any hesitation, prescribed it for me.
When you first started, did you experience any introductory side effects?
In the beginning, just a little bit. I had sleep issues. I was having trouble sleeping. And also, I started off at 4.5. And also, I felt a little bit depressed. I was kind of surprised because I had heard it would raise your mood and make you feel, more calm and happy. But I was having kind of depression. And I talked to the doctor about that, and he suggested I lower the dose, which I did. And that seemed to take care of it. So I lowered it to 2.25 at that point. I'm now back up to 4.5.
Okay. And how long did it take before you experienced less pain?
You know, it really didn't take all that long. I started noticing a difference, probably a small difference within about a week or so, but I thought it was maybe my imagination. I noticed that I could walk longer with the dog. That's the first indication. I felt less fatigued.
Mm-hmm.
And then as probably within, I would say, a couple months, I totally felt normal again. It really didn't take any longer than about 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was noticing little things like, oh, I can get up and down off the floor. And I was noticing when I got up off the couch after sitting for a while, it didn't hurt any longer. And when I got up in the morning, I didn't feel the pain.
That's amazing. So what are your pain levels now, with 10 being the worst?
Oh, maybe 1, because I still have a little bit of stiffness. Yeah, I have some osteoarthritis, so I think that's probably the only pain that I have. It's a little bit in my lower back, but I think it's from the osteoarthritis.
Well, that is an amazing story, isn't it? It's really good.
It's honestly, it's like a miracle. I mean, to me, it felt like a miracle. I just couldn't believe it.
Mm-hmm. And how are you feeling now? Do you have any depression at all, or has that gone?
No, actually, and I've raised up to 4.5, and no, I'm feeling pretty good, really. I still have a few sleep problems, but they're minor. I take some herbal sleep medication, some valerian at night. That seems to help.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to other people with pain who are rather skeptical about LDN?
Oh, I'd say try it. You have nothing to lose. It's wonderful. It doesn't help everyone. I understand that, but it's certainly worth a try.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, Barbara.
You're welcome. It was fine. It was good.